All right, had a pretty fruitful day today. This, I don't believe is gold, but he just threw it in as part of the deal. Sterling silver necklace and ring with some tiny little diamond chips in it. And then, I can't remember, around 40 grams of gold filled, roughly. And then I traded some of my refined gold for American Eagles. 10th ounce American Eagles. And even a proof. I believe they're all MS69s. Oh, nope, there's an MS70. So we do have an MS70 in here as well. To be honest, this was kind of I think a break even between the two of us. He got a little more volume of gold, and I got some higher premium coins. So, yeah, I mean, he actually contacted me and wanted to make the trade. So I've got all those, and then there's just 2 ungraded. So, yeah, good evening. Joe, hopefully I've got everything I need to blocked out on here. But MICH something sent to Iowa O'Brien. So this is off Facebook Marketplace. Someone trusted me, and I'm not gonna let them down. They sent me, well, I'll weigh these, but 2.7 grams of 14 karat and 1.7 grams of 18 karat. This little paper clip bracelet or chunk. I don't even know if it's a full bracelet. Yeah, it looks like it's broken. But obviously I don't care if it's broken or not. Shoot, if the clasp is on there, it helps me a little bit. So, yeah. If anyone's interested, they would trust me for it, but you can certainly mail me gold, and I would pay 80% for it. Obviously, there's certain limits financially. You know, if it's a $10,000 piece of gold, it's something I'd have to make arrangements for. But, you know, like a $1,000 necklace or something like that, or a couple $100 bracelet, something small, I'll take it if it's even smaller than that. But I'm gonna go ahead and get these weights verified, and then do my testing on the scratch stone. Just authenticate everything, and then I'll be sending him money however he wants it. Okay, I'm gonna have to send this to him too. He can tell me what he wants to do. So there's our 14 karat. You can see the gold is staying there. And then here's our little paperclip bracelet. 18 karat acid went right through it. 14 is holding. So it looks like that little paper clip is also 14 karat. So it's a small amount, but I'll see what he wants to do. Just revalue it at 14 karat basically. Yeah, again, it helps me have a bright flashlight on this too to see it, but that just disappeared immediately when I put the 18 on there. When I let the seller know that that was in fact 14 karat, not 18 karat, I gave him the option of selling it at 14 karat, or I would ship it back to him at my cost. So just to let you know, he had that choice. He was fine with taking the payment as 14 karat, which it was, and everybody turned out happy. So just wanted to add that in. Okay, I messaged with the guy, and I ended up paying him just a smidge over 80%. I'm paying him $280. So yeah, he actually said 4.385 before, but maybe I got something greasy from my hands on there. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this imported, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get this finished as well, and then I'll add it to that. So we'll keep chugging along. All right, there's our 4.385 or 4.39 grams of 14 karat and 5.2 grams of silver. And we'll go ahead and throw a bunch of nitric at this, and we'll get the brown mud out of it. Made a nice little Sunday purchase. I have, there's 2 14 karat chains in here, total 10.8 grams. Then I have a 10 karat chain and 2 pendants, 8.5 grams. This is a really easy way, I guess, just to simplify the math. I've never had a problem with it. I always shoot maybe a gram over or so. But so 14 karat, you take your weight times 1.2, and that'll give you your silver amount. 10 karat, your weight times 0.8, that'll give you your silver needed. So I need a total of 19.76, and I've already weighed out. I bought some sterling silver also from this guy. So I've got 20 grams weighed out, close enough. So I will get this imported and start refining. Also, I made some small improvements to my lab here. I need to clean up the wiring still, but some self-adhesive mirrors that helps a lot with the lighting. And then these are actually just really cheap grow lights that you can buy off Amazon. And you can dim them if you want, but they come with 4 different ways to mount them. I used the simplest way, which was this double-sided tape that came with them. But that really helps with my lighting situation here. Then I also have that bulb, which I might swap over here, and vice versa. But yeah, you can see inside of here, that really helps the lighting. Anyhow, I will get started. I'll get this thing ported, and we'll go from there. All right, here is our quartered gold. Something in there did not melt. There was a little chunk kind of bouncing around as I was trying to stir it that just never liquefied. So not sure what that was, if I missed something during testing or if it was just a big clasp. But anyhow, I'm gonna throw some nitric at this and we'll find out. Just want to show the math on this too before. Well, it's just starting to boil in here. So the math, 14 divided by 24 times 10.8 give us 6.33. 10 divided by 24 times 8.5 gives us 3.5. So we have a maximum expected yield if everything was true 14 and 10 karat of 9.84. Today's price is just short of 135. I figured at 135 a gram, so we're at $1,328 value. So it'll never come out to that max yield. I don't expect it. I mean, it's great if it does, but we should be pretty close. So 20% on the purchase, you know, decent profit. Stand down real quick. Here's the mud from our 2 little gold pieces the guy mailed me and the gold filled jewelry. I don't know if you can see it on camera very well, but there's quite a bit of SMB, I think, still mixed in there. It's pretty dirty. It's got a very dark color to it. There, you can see it there. So I'm just gonna rinse this with water a few times. And it looks like there's a couple of chunks maybe that didn't dissolve still in there. So yeah, look at that, a little bit of gold. So I'll probably just rinse this with water, get all the SMB out of it, redissolve it, and then I'll clean it up and redissolve it again and get a very nice clean gold out of it. So I left this on heat. I was redissolving, and you can see it boiled over. So I just reached in there real quick, shut it off the heat. This is why you use pans. It boils over. Honestly, I think that's the first time I've had it boil over like that. I have had beakers cracked before. I think just 2 in the past, and they didn't shatter. They just split. But this is why you use a pan. It doesn't look like anything got outside of the pan. That's actually just old. You can see down here, that's an old spot. So everything's still contained in that pan. Once it cools off, all the fumes clear. And I will just rinse everything that's in that pan back into the beaker and start back at it. But I'm guessing what happened is there was still SMB in there, even though I rinsed it several times. And when it reacted with nitric and got hot, it just boiled over. So, lesson learned. Kind of a new thing for me, a new problem. But that's how we learn. We mess things up, don't do it again. The other one, that's second nitric boil now. Here's the liquid from the first one. So that's all going well. But yeah, that was wild. Came down and it was all bubbling, and fortunately it didn't smell or anything, so it looks like my fan's doing okay. Anyhow, that's just a reason, I guess, to pay attention to things. You can leave stuff on heat overnight, but only kind of when you know what's going on, and low heat. Okay, got everything back in there. You can tell the volume increased quite a bit. I rinsed the pan out. The only thing I touched it were my gloves. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it here. You can see it's just starting to warm up, starting to steam the water off. But I'm gonna stay here and keep an eye on it for a bit. Because if it starts to bubble up like that, you can pull it off the heat immediately and it should stop. Okay, here's our third nitric boil, where I'm gonna try my little experiments again. I can still hear a little bit of metallic sound in there. Let's see if it crushes. But just curiosity. There you can see I was able to crush it up pretty well. A little bit of color in the water. I'll let it boil for a few minutes and see what we get. There you can see our gold that I recovered that boiled over in that pan, and it's got a very dark color to it still. So I'm going to boil it in water, hydrochloric acid, water, ammonia. We should get a nice light brown color. Now here's our mud that I broke up as best as I could. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in a melt dish, get it into shot, just see how it looks, and then redissolve it and get it all cleaned up from there. Okay, it actually looks pretty decent. You see there's no glaze on it right there, but watch and take a little bit of meat off of it. Here's our gold shot, and I'll make sure that stays awake. If we go back, our max yield was 9.84. That didn't account for any loss in clasps, any impurities in the gold that would have made it less than 10 or 14 karat. But you can see it looks pretty good. I don't think it focuses very well. It's pretty clean. So I'll go ahead and actually dissolve this in aqua regia and go through the filter process and see how much more impurities we can get out of it. I imagine if we end up at 9.4, I'd be happy with that. Here's our gold that's boiled over. Hopefully you can tell there's a very dark, it's almost a black color at this moment. So we'll see if it cleans up more. That's after rinsing with water a few times. So next we'll go to hydrochloric acid and see if we get more of a lighter brown out of it. Okay, that did not clean up the way I was hoping it was going to. So I'm not melting it this time. I'm gonna redissolve it, refilter it, and drop it again. You can see it's got a very dark color compared to the golden brown that I'm looking for. So no point in going any further with this. Just gonna go ahead and redissolve it completely. Here's our couple little gold items and gold filled, redissolved and redropped. About as far as I'm gonna go. All right, good. And gosh, hopefully, let me zoom this just a little bit. All right, so we've already got a much nicer shot of this color. A recognizable brown color. It's actually looking darker on the camera than it is in person. Whereas before it was really, really dark. So I'll just get this moved into a smaller, much smaller beaker and clean this up and melt it. So yeah, you can see a nice brown color to it now. Okay, hopefully, yeah, that acid on the finger. Try to avoid that. That's the color we're looking for. Focus. Much better, light brown.
See if it frosts up on us. Oh, it did frost over. Bummer. So close.
Okay, so here's our little button from that $280 purchase. A couple little, I think they were 14 karat items and some gold filled jewelry. So that actually turned out pretty well. It does not have the prettiest color to it, but I promise you it's at least 98% pure. And the other items, what was it? 4 necklaces and 2 pendants are in here. Just finishing that up, and I'll start getting that dropped, cleaned up, and melted. So this is the gold mud that I had broken up and thought I dissolved every bit of silver out as possible, but look how blue that is when it came down. So it's been dissolved into mud, broken up into pieces, boiled, melted in a shot, dissolved again, dropped again, and you can just tell there's a bunch of silver still in there. So this is gonna end up getting dissolved again. You can see it's got a nice dark color to it. My torch is slowly running out of gas here. No problem. I have more gas, but it's just kind of interesting to see. I already know this tray or crucible is contaminated from the last melt I did. Still no immediate frosting over. But I'll swap out the tanks here, get this melted and weighed. Okay, here's our second little button. Remember, we're shooting for 9.84 would be the absolute max. Yep, okay. So that's more what I was expecting. So we had 4 clasps in there, 14, 10 carats. Here's our second little bead from the separate purchase. Now both of these I'm gonna melt down into shot right now and re-refine them. No, there's some impurities in here still. So we're at 13.367. Let's see where we end up when it gets truly pure. Okay, here's our gold melted into shot. Adding hydrochloric acid. Way too much. Not gonna hurt anything, but it's way more than needed. Some cold tap water. Almost out here. Let's see if I have enough nitric in here. They're roughly 13 grams. So I am gonna put about 9 milliliters of nitric in here. And I'll come back and add more as needed until it's all gone. All right, here's our really pretty gold. Not sure why we're bubbling still. I am gonna go ahead, I'll run through the filter a bunch of times here and then precipitate it out. So this is the 5th time through, and you can see how fast it's going. There is a hole in that filter. So I'll be replacing that once this finishes and then go through a few more times. All right, that's what I'm talking about when I say very clean gold that you can read through. You can clearly see Lady Starbuck behind there from a pup cup. So I will drop some SMB in here and hope that I don't have too much nitric. All right. I want to thank Lithic Metals for actually responding to a question I put on his video. Or I think the video was titled something like, "Does a little bit of silver really matter?" And one of his subscribers had sent, well, I think a little over an ounce of gold to him, but it had a little bit of frost to it. So he re-refined that just to show how, 99% plus pure gold would still have a little bit of discoloration, a little bit of frost. So I'm gonna finish that up. I have this really cool chunk of gold I used in a different batch. The reason it looks like this, get this to focus. So I had too much nitric in a batch, and I threw this in to use up the remaining nitric. It came out with this really cool crystal finish to it. But I am going to go ahead and just mix this all together to make one little bar. We got 14.3 grams there. And then these are my mold choices. I'm going to shoot for this one right here. It's a little wider but shallower than this one. And I think I've got enough gold to maybe not fill it completely, but get pretty close. So I'm gonna get this gold dried out, melted, get everything melted, poured, and we'll see how it turns out. I just want to show real quick how I remove heat. No frosting, doesn't frost over at all. Beautiful. Here's our beautiful final product. I ended up having to go with, oh, it's still over there on the burning table, a smaller bar size. You can see there's no frosting whatsoever on that. It is perfect. It's 27.5. So I already did all the math here. So I ended up with total yield 13.127. Gold has gone up almost $2 a gram since I bought this. It's been over about a week and a half since I made the first purchase. So we have a total value currently $17.96 minus the $13.20 I paid, so profit of $476 in about 10 days. That's assuming I can sell it at melt. Worst case scenario, I sell it to the coin shop a little bit below melt, but if I get 90+%, cut that in half, I guess, but still, call it $238. Worst case scenario. But I will be listing this on Marketplace and see if I can sell it at melt. And next step, I'm gonna clean all of this, get this all organized. I've already got an agreement to purchase a 35 gram 14 karat necklace on Friday, so I've got to move this quick and start the process all over again. That'll just give me some walking around cash, basically. Day-to-day cash. Don't use my debit card hardly ever anymore. All right, well, any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching.